Someone close to you is hiding something from you. And I'm not talking about a secret or a surprise. I'm talking about your miracle, the very thing that has been prepared specifically for your hands, for your life, for this exact moment you are sitting in right now. And before you scroll past or tell yourself this is just another video on the internet, I want you to pause, because what you are about to hear in the next few minutes is not content that was made for everyone. It was made for the person who ended up exactly here, in exactly this position, at exactly this hour. And if something in your chest just shifted when I said that, if something in your body went quiet for half a second, that is not coincidence. That is recognition. Close the door if you can. If someone else is in the room, this message will still reach you. But it was designed to find you in the space where you are most yourself. Not the version of you that performs. Not the version of you that holds everything together for other people. But the one who sits in silence after everyone has gone to sleep and wonders why this life still feels like it is slightly out of reach. That version of you is exactly who this is for. And I need you to stay with me all the way through, because the most important thing I am going to say is not at the beginning. It builds as you listen. And by the time we reach the end together, something inside of you is going to recognize what it has been searching for. Not because I put it there, but because it has been inside you the entire time, waiting for someone to call it by its real name. Something has been shifting inside of you lately, and you have not been able to explain it to anyone, not even to yourself. The conversations that used to fill you up now feel like they drain something out of you before they even finish. The people you used to look forward to seeing now sometimes feel like they belong to a chapter of your life that is already closing. The things that used to feel exciting, the plans, the outings, the group chats, the noise, have started to feel heavy in a way that you cannot name. And you probably blamed yourself for it. You told yourself you were being antisocial. You told yourself you were being cold or ungrateful. You started to wonder if something was wrong with you because you used to love those things and now you just want quiet. But here is what is actually happening. You are not withdrawing from life. You are withdrawing from a version of life that no longer belongs to you. There is a difference, and it is a massive one, because one of those things is loss and the other is preparation. What you are experiencing right now is not depression. It is not burnout. It is not social anxiety dressed up in spiritual language. It is a genuine internal shift that happens to people who are being moved from one season of their life into something larger, something more aligned with what they were actually built for. And the reason it feels like loss is because it is a kind of loss. You are losing a version of yourself that kept you comfortable for a long time. That version knew how to fit in. That version knew what to say and when to smile and how to make everyone around them feel okay. And that version served you well for a while, but it was never the whole truth of who you are. It was a layer, a necessary one maybe, but still just a layer. And now that layer is peeling away, and what is underneath is more tender and more real and more powerful than anything that version of you ever showed the world. Type 555 right now if something inside you just recognized what I said. Not because I told you to, but because your own spirit just confirmed it. You have also been noticing things lately that you cannot quite explain. Maybe you keep waking up at a very specific time in the early morning, not because something startled you, not because your body is broken, but because something in you keeps surfacing at that hour like it is trying to get your attention. Maybe you keep seeing the same number on different clocks in different rooms on different days, and your rational mind tries to explain it away. But there is a part of you that knows there is something more to it. Maybe two different people said something to you recently, almost the same thing, and they had no way of knowing about each other. And the words landed on you in a way that felt too precise to be accident. Maybe there has been a song, one specific song, that has found you over and over again during the hardest mornings. And when it plays, something in you exhales. None of this is your imagination manufacturing meaning where there is none. These are signals, not random, not decorative, functional signals like a father leaving breadcrumbs on a path so that his child does not have to walk through the dark season completely blind. Heaven is not loud. Heaven is precise. And the precision is the proof. Your dreams have been different lately too, have they not? Not the ordinary dreams where your mind is just processing the residue of the day. Something deeper has been happening when you sleep. You have been visiting places that felt more real than any room you have been in while awake. You have been standing in front of people, sometimes people you have not seen in years, and something is being said, something is being handed to you. And when you wake up, you cannot always hold onto the words, but you carry the feeling throughout the entire day. Some mornings you wake up with a peace that makes no sense given everything your waking life contains. That peace is not random. The part of you that is most connected, the part that does not get crowded out by noise and obligation and other people's needs, that part is most free when your body is resting. And God has always spoken to his people in the night. That has always been his pattern. Not because the day is too loud, though it often is, but because the night is when the deepest parts of a person are finally still enough to receive what has been waiting to be given. Do not dismiss what has been happening in your sleep. Write it down if you can. Speak it out loud if that feels right. But do not let it go unacknowledged, because what is being planted in the night hours is going to bear fruit in the waking ones. And now, I want to tell you something about the room you are in, not just tonight, but the rooms you have been inhabiting for the last few years of your life. Because there is a word in ancient Hebrew that most people walk right past without understanding what it actually means. The word is shamar. It appears in the 2nd chapter of Genesis, in one of the earliest descriptions of what human beings were designed to do. Most people read it as a gardening metaphor, like tending to a lawn, like maintenance work, like keeping things neat. But shamar is nothing like that. Shamar means to guard what is holy. A shamar is a watchman. It is the soldier who stands at the entrance of the king's chamber through the night when everyone else has gone to sleep. It is the priest who keeps the sacred flame burning, never letting it extinguish, for years, decade after decade, because what burns inside that temple is not replaceable if it goes out. That was the original assignment, not maintenance, not management, guardianship of something sacred. And here is what I need you to understand. The years you have spent in quiet, the years that looked from the outside like nothing was happening, the years that you might have even labeled as lost time or wasted time, or the years when you fell behind, those years were not empty. Those years were shammer. You were guarding something. Something inside of you that the world did not know how to handle. Something that had to be protected from noise and performance, and the pressure to make yourself smaller so other people would feel more comfortable around you. You were guarding it by staying in the room, by closing the door, by refusing to spend yourself completely on things that would have exhausted the real thing before it was ready to be revealed. Type Amen if that hit you somewhere real, because what has been built inside that quiet room is not nothing. It is everything. You have developed an ability to read a situation in seconds, to sense what is really happening beneath the surface of what people say, to know within moments of meeting someone whether or not they are carrying something genuine. That is not a personality quirk. That was not handed to you automatically. It was forged on the nights when you were alone and had no one to read the room for you, so you learned to do it yourself. You developed a quality of compassion that does not collapse under the weight of other people's pain. You can be present with someone who is suffering without drowning in their suffering yourself. You can hold space without losing yourself in the holding. That took years to learn. That took a specific kind of solitude to teach. You carry a stillness with you now that other people feel before you speak. When you enter a space, something shifts, even before you say a word, because what you have been holding and guarding and tending in that quiet room radiates before your voice ever does. And you have learned to do what is right without needing anyone to witness it. You do the hard thing privately. You carry the burden that no one handed to you. You show up for what needs to be done without waiting for someone to applaud you, because somewhere along the way the approval stopped being the thing that moved you, and something more solid took its place. These are not small things. These are rare things. These are the exact things that the season ahead of you is going to require. And I want you to understand that what comes next is not going to arrive in the dramatic form you might have been expecting. It is not going to be a lightning bolt. It is not going to be a voice from the clouds. It is not going to be an unmistakable sign that makes the decision obvious and the fear irrelevant. What is about to happen is going to feel both inevitable and terrifying at the same time. The direction that has been slowly forming under the surface of your life for years is about to become impossible to ignore, not because someone delivers it to you on a silver tray, but because the quiet nudges that you have been brushing aside are about to become something you can no longer rationalize away. And your body is going to feel the weight of it before your mind understands it. That heaviness you feel when you are on the edge of something real, that is not a sign to back away. That is the weight of the map. A real map, not a tourist pamphlet, not a decorative thing for the wall, has weight. And when you are holding a real map in your hands, you feel it before you read it. That weight tells you the route is genuine. Do not put down the map because it feels heavy. Do not walk back into the old familiar room just because this new hallway feels unfamiliar. Say 222 if you feel that weight right now. Because here is what that season is going to do to your relationships first. People who have been part of your life for years, some of them people you love genuinely and completely, are going to feel further away. Not because they changed, not because you became cold or selfish or stopped caring, but because the version of you that they were connected to has already moved on, and the new version of you speaks a language that they have not learned yet. The check-ins will get shorter. The conversations will have less to say. Some friendships will quietly conclude without a fight, without a falling out, without a dramatic ending, just a slow and natural distance that neither of you planned. And when that happens, you are going to want to chase it. You are going to want to reach back and apologize and make yourself smaller again and slip back into the old dynamic just to keep the connection alive. Do not do that. The people who are meant to be part of the season ahead cannot find you if you are still sitting at the old table trying to make the old things work. The people who speak the language your spirit has been learning, the ones who will recognize you not just for who you have been, but for who you are becoming, they are already moving toward you. But they cannot reach you if you are still trying to hold onto what has already served its purpose. And your purpose itself is about to become impossible to avoid. The thing you were made to do, the specific expression of your gifts that no one else can replicate in the exact way you do it, is about to step into a light it has not been in before. And with that comes opportunity that will feel like it arrived too early or that you do not deserve it. A connection that comes from nowhere. An open door that you did not knock on. A resource showing up in a form you were not expecting. Through a person you almost did not respond to. Through a moment you almost let pass by because your old voice told you it was not meant for you. That voice is not telling the truth. That voice learned its doubt from real places. From adults who did not know how to handle what you carried. From systems that taught you that real humility means disappearing. From rooms where being too much of yourself felt dangerous, and making yourself small felt like the safest way to survive. That voice has been protecting you in the only way it knew how. But the protection it offers is the kind that keeps you safe inside a burning building because at least the building is familiar. It is time to walk out, not to silence that voice violently, not to shame it, but to thank it genuinely for what it did for so long, and then to tell it clearly that you are the one holding the door now. You do not need it to carry the fear anymore. You can carry this yourself. Type Amen and 333 if you are ready to walk through the door that has been waiting for you. Because before I show you the full picture of what this season is releasing into your life, I want to speak to something specific that is going to try to surface in the next 48 hours. The moment you finish listening to this, there is a voice that is going to come back louder than before. It is going to sound reasonable. It is going to say things like, maybe you are just tired. Maybe you are reading too much into something that was just a well-made piece of content. Maybe you are not actually chosen. You are just lonely enough to want to be. Maybe that moment of recognition you felt earlier was just emotion, not truth. That voice always gets louder right before something real is about to break through. It is not a sign that you were wrong about what you felt. It is a sign that what you felt was accurate enough to threaten the part of you that is still afraid of what happens if you stop being small. There is also a second pattern that is going to try to show up, an urge to self-sabotage, not out of weakness, not out of stupidity, but out of something deeply biological. Your nervous system learned to feel safe at a certain level, and when something new approaches, even something genuinely good, even something that is freedom, your body reads newness as danger because newness was not always safe when you were younger. so it will push you toward the familiar, toward the old.